Hey everybody. Today we are going to make corrections to the exercise 154 on page 86 and exercise 155 on page 87 of your grammar workbook. Okay, beginning with exercise 154 on page 86. Here it is. The instructions say, edit the following selection to meet the requirements of standard formal English. Okay, now standard formal English, if you recall, we classify English as either standard or non-standard, but within it's standard, meaning correct usage, we have formal, which would be used for if you're giving a speech or if you're writing a formal paper, or if you want to be intelligent and sound intelligent among intelligent people, you use formal language. Informal is not incorrect, it's just conversational. The kind of things, when you're having a conversation with your pals, you use informal English, which is more relaxed than formal, but it is not incorrect. The third category is non-standard, which is absolutely, positively incorrect. Okay, you do not, even in conversation, want to use non-standard English, because then you're communicating to your friends and neighbors that you don't know how to speak even minimally correct English. So that's what we're doing today. Edit the following selection to meet the requirements of standard formal English. So we're talking specifically about formal, not informal, okay? Check the sentences for correctness, clearness, and effectiveness. That's the first thing. Now, 2, check the words for correctness, appropriateness, and exactness. Eliminate jargon, triteness, and wordiness. Check the mechanics. Mark your revisions on this page, and then rewrite this selection on a separate sheet of paper. You may have to write more than one draft. Okay, so I'm going to just go through and mark up this paper. So I need you to go through yours and mark the markings that I put on here, okay? So let's start at the beginning. So long as our people remain virtuous. All right, well, clearly there's a mistake there. I'm assuming that this word is not correct. Let's look at the whole sentence. So long as our people remain virtuous and intelligent, our government will remain stable. Maybe so long as the people remain virtuous, probably the. Anyway, so all we're going to do is as if we're correcting this, like you're the teacher and we're correcting it, we're going to put the word "are" in parentheses, and we're going to write that it is the wrong word, WW. Now, why did I choose WW? Well, in the back page of your handbook for grammar and composition is this correction symbols page, and it shows all of the different abbreviations for corrections that you need to make in your writing, okay? And there's wrong word is WW, okay? So we're going to use this to mark this page up quite a lot, all right? So you can refer back to that page. If you didn't, for some reason, bring your handbook for grammar and composition home, you're going to need it. You need to make arrangements to come get it at some point, because you absolutely are going to need it for all the exercises that we're going to do. All right. I made a photocopy of this, so when it's time, when we need it, I'll throw this correction symbols listing over there so we can use it. All right. We made our first correction. So long as the people remain virtuous and intelligent, our government, there's 2 things wrong here. So long as the people remain virtuous and intelligent, that's a pause. We need a comma there. So let's put a P above that for punctuation. You'll notice that P means error in punctuation. All right? So we're going to use P because there's a comma missing. This is an abbreviation that does not need to be there in formal writing. AB, very first item in the list, is abbreviation. All right? So long as the people remain virtuous and intelligent. So let's change that to, I'm just going to put V there, so when we rewrite it, we'll have the right word there. I'll put a comma. We know to spell that one out. Will remain stable, fine. Okay, let's look at the next. During the time that they perceive justice in a clear manner and decree justice in an honest manner, our laws will be wholesome. Let's just stop right there. There's some wordiness here. During the time, why would we say that? Why wouldn't we say something more simple like when they receive? So, but when is not the thing that we need to write up there. Do WDY. Okay, that's the marking, the correction mark. That means wordiness. All right. Let's see. Yeah, that's what, so marking our corrections. We're doing it. This is right. During the time, okay. Next, during the time they perceive justice in a clear manner and decree justice in an honest manner. That's let's get rid of, change all of that. That's too many words to say something simple. Actually, let's move this parentheses out here. Okay, so during the time that they, instead, when they, now let's reduce this down to something simple. Perceive justice in a clear manner and decree justice in an honest manner. How about we say, honestly perceive and decree justice? Maybe? Let's write it out to the side. That'll be how we do that. That cuts 2/3 of the words out of it. Okay. Our laws will be wholesome, semicolon, and the principles of our, okay, well, that's the wrong spelling. That's like a principal of the school. So that needs to be SP, I believe. Let's see. No, it's not. Since it is a word, it's not spelled wrong, it's just the wrong word. We're going to use EX for exactness and vividness, because it's actually a different word. It's not the exact word that we need. So EX for exactness and vividness. And then again, of our Constitution will commend themselves. Well, okay. Our laws will be wholesome, and the principles of the Constitution, let's do, that would be wrong word again, will commend themselves everywheres. Well, that's horrible. So let's do, theirselves should be themselves. Okay. This is inappropriate, I suppose. Yeah. There's an, for appropriateness. So APP. Yeah. And then everywheres, that's just plain wrong. That's not even a word. So let's go through the list here and see how we would mark that one. It's not even a word. Probably glossary, unless there's a, yeah, okay. Glossary of Diction would probably be the one, Unit 35. Let's see. Yeah. Here's the Glossary of Diction. the word that we're looking at is everywhere. Let's just see if it's in here. Yeah, look. Everywhere's C3519. These are the appropriate words. Let's see. Anywhere, everywhere, nowhere, somewhere. Do not add an S to the end of these words. Okay, so you could have either put 3519 there, or you could put 3549. Yeah, 3549 there. But anyway, it's still GL for glossary. Oh, 3549 is what I'll put. Okay. All right. To the common sense of man. But if they become ignorant and vicious, if their decisions become the dictates of passion and venality rather than being the dictates, I don't like that. Let's go on though. Of reason and right, that moment in our liberties are at an end, and glad to escape from the despotism of millions, comma, then we shall hightail it. No way. We know that that's appropriateness. So we're going to mark that. Before we get away from this, being the dictates rather than the dictates is what we need to say. So let's make that wordiness. Okay, so mark wordiness there. Okay, hightail it, we've already said that. For shelter to the despotism of one. At that point in time, no way, instead of, that's wordy, at that point in time, remember, let's just say when. During the time that, just say when. When the world's last hope, this is not correct. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. This is a punctuation problem, so we'll put a P above it. But apostrophe S is possessive, okay? Possessive meaning ownership. Just an S means plural, more than one. If you have an S apostrophe in almost every case, actually in every case that I know about, that means both plural and possessive. So let me just write it here. Okay, so world is singular. Worlds is like more than one world, right? That's plural. W-O-R-L-D apostrophe S is possessive. Okay, meaning the one world owns something, like the world's oceans, or the world's land, or the world's people. Okay, that's possessive. Now, if you write that, this is both plural and possessive. Okay, which means you have two worlds and they own, let's put people in both worlds. I guess since people is plural. Okay, so this is world number one. This is world number two. They both have people. If we're talking about all four of those people, that would be the world's people. One, two worlds, and they possess people. Does that make sense? That's plural and possessive. Now let's go back here and look. The world's last hope, that's just possessive. It's our one world's last hope. So that should be W-O-R-L-D apostrophe S. That's just possessive. Does that make sense? I hope so. So we're going to mark that. It should be W-O-R-L-D apostrophe S. Okay, that's our note. Last hope will be extinguished. And darkness brood for ages over the whole human race. Well, that's interesting. Brood means something, but it doesn't mean what you think it means. You ever see The Princess Bride? There's the actor Mandy Patinkin. He plays the long-haired swordsman that fights the six-fingered man. I'm probably already lost you. Watch The Princess Bride. That's your homework too. But anyway, he said, and there's a meme of this, but he says famously, "I don't think that means what you think it means." Brood, to brood would mean to kind of wallow. But then brood, B-R-E-W-E-D, means to like brew something, like brew root beer or brew tea. It's a past tense action verb, brewed. Let's look and see which one it's supposed to be. At that point, when the world's last hope will be extinguished and the darkness brewed for ages over the whole human race. I don't think either one of those words work. Do you? It doesn't make logical sense. I don't know. I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to put logic, because there should be a logic. Yeah. Illogical construction. It just doesn't make sense, okay? Now, don't mess up and put LC, because that means lowercase. Logic, okay? So there we go. And then over the whole human race. This is the wrong word. Okay. That would be whole, W-H-O-L-E. After you make these corrections, then you can rewrite these. If you haven't already rewritten it down here, feel free to write it down there. If you have already written something here, then put it on another piece of paper, lay that piece of paper here with your corrections, and then upload that, okay? That's 86. Now, let's look at 87. Cross out any words that are incorrect or inappropriate to standard formal English. Again, we're dealing with formal. So this is when you're writing a paper, or you're writing a speech, or something that matters that you speak or write intelligently, okay? And what we have to do is cross out the words that are incorrect or inappropriate to standard formal English and write in corrections where necessary. All right, well, let's go through it. Ain't I correct in saying that God's trombones, which is a title, contain the familiar poem, The Creation? All right, well, I see two issues right away. Ain't I? Let's get rid of that and say, am I not? Am I not correct in saying that God's trombones, that's correct. I guess that's a book. It's a collection of poetry. God's trombones, it's one thing. Contain, that would be a plural form of the verb. And so because trombones, it's a plural word inside the title, it's still just one book. So that should be contains. Okay, the familiar poem, The Creation. Everything else is fine. Let's move on to the next one. You sending the child to camp was real thoughtful, being that his mother and father seems totally disinterested in him. Okay, that's hard to read because it's so messed up. Let's look at that. You sending, that's not right. You're sending. Okay, the reason it's your is because we use the possessive form of the pronoun in this case, because sending the child to camp is technically, here's why. If you have your pronoun precedes a gerund phrase, which is what this is, sending the child to camp, because that's the subject, and that whole phrase is a gerund, ends in ing, it's being used as a noun, so that whole phrase is used as a noun for the subject. And then your is going to be part of this big subject, okay? But if it precedes a gerund phrase, then you use the possessive form of the verb. You just get used to hearing it this way, but that's the reason you always do. So your, meaning ownership, possessive form. You're sending the child to camp, like your cookie, that would be, cookie would be the subject. Which one? Your. Now, in this sense, sending the child to camp is the noun, like standing in for like cookie. Your, which sending the child to camp? You're sending the child to camp, okay? So that's why that's used. Kind of technical, but that's the case. So this is a gerund. I'll just write it in here so you understand. Was, verb, real, thoughtful. Now, that's wrong. Okay, really is the correct adverb. Really thoughtful. Being that. Okay, that is not right. That is non-standard English. It's something that rednecks say when they're on television and they want to sound smart. But we don't say that, okay? So since his mother and father seem, it's both of them, seem. So in this case, seems is singular. We want to use the plural form of the verb, seem, totally disinterested in him. Disinterested is not a word. Uninterested. Okay, a lot of corrections on that one, huh? Your sending the child to camp was really thoughtful, since his mother and father seemed totally uninterested in him. Okay, good. Next one. When a team achieves success, their success usually reflects the kind of coaching they have had. Okay. When a team achieves success, a team is one thing. It is a thing. So we're going to trade there, which would be talking about it's a team is a collective noun, but it's singular. It's one team. So it's, okay? And remember, it's does not have an apostrophe S because it's a special case. It is a pronoun, of course. Its ITS is the possessive form, and then IT apostrophe S is the contraction for it is, okay? So ITS. When the team achieves success, its success usually reflects the kind of coaching. Now, again, it's it has, because we've gone from plural to singular, had. All right, there you go. Next one, Mrs. Potter, the widow woman next door, has taken sick and cannot care for herself like she used to could. Okay, this is all country living. This is all country talk. Some of you thought, man, well, that just sounds right. Well, we're going to learn how we would formalize this non-standard sentence, okay? Miss Potter, the widow woman, no, it's actually, you don't say widow woman. Widow is a woman who doesn't have a husband. Woman is a woman. That's repetitive. So just say the widow. That's still exactly the same amount of accurate. Miss Potter, the widow, okay, has taken sick. No, has become ill. Then cannot care for herself, not like, but as she used to be able to. And by the way, she cannot care for herself as she used to be able to care for herself would be the actual way logically that it makes sense. But this is what we call an elliptical clause. To be able to is an elliptical clause, meaning that the rest of the clause is dropped because we just have started to do that in the way we speak, and it has become an acceptable way of writing. But you have to treat it as if the rest of the sentence is there. Now, I'm not going to write it because that you don't write it. But if cannot care for herself as she used to be able to care for herself, okay? To care is an infinitive, right? So you would treat that as an infinitive, even though to care for herself, an infinitive with a prepositional phrase there. So it's it would be hard to tell without knowing that that's an elliptical clause. It would be hard to tell, or elliptical phrase in this case. To care for, yeah, it's elliptical phrase. But it would be hard to tell what to do with that to functionally if you didn't know that this is actually a shortened version of a longer phrase. Okay, she cannot care for herself as she used to be able to care for herself. All right. Anyway, number 5. You better check with your faculty advisor again because I think you implied the wrong thing from what he said. I'm almost positive that economics are one of the courses that is required of accounting majors. Wow, so many things. First, you had better, use the little arrow to show that it goes between those words. You had better check with your faculty advisor again because I think you, now implied is what, if I'm saying something without saying it, I'm implying that. If I hear something that you didn't say, I'm inferring that. Like I'm reading between, you said something and I know what you really mean. I'm inferring your real meaning. So imply something I do. Infer is what I do to other people's words. And in this case, I think you inferred the wrong thing from what he said. That's, okay? I'm almost positive that economics, that's one course, okay, is one of the courses that, now courses are multiples, are, so that's plural, are required of accounting majors. Multiple courses are required of accounting majors, so this one should be plural, but this one is singular because we're talking about just one economics class, okay? That's all there. I expect that Samantha will ask her mother to fix her favorite meal, spaghetti and meatballs, on her birthday. Okay, well, expect is not appropriate. It would be, I suppose, because that's what you're doing. Or assuming, suppose is better. Okay. That Samantha will ask her mother to fix, well, that's what we say in the South, but it's actually to prepare. Less formal would be cook, but more formal writing would be prepare. And remember, we're dealing with formal English here. So to prepare her favorite meal, spaghetti and meatballs on her birthday. That's all good. Number 7. Finishing my exam early, I brought it to the teacher and left the room. Hopefully, I've done real good on it. Okay, well, I know that's wrong. Let's look at the first part. Finishing my exam early. What we're trying to do here is a nominative. Is it a nominative absolute? Having finished my exam early. And then formal would be examination. You don't, in formal writing, you don't really want to abbreviate. I brought it to the teacher. Actually, if I brought it, I took it. I took it to the teacher and left the room. Hopefully, we'll have less, nope, okay, I'm sorry. Hopefully, I've done real good on it. I hope I did really well on it. Does that look good to you guys? I hope so. All right, number 8. Just you being there enthused the whole team and made them especially determined not to lose the crucial game. All right, well, first, I got to quickly fix that because loose is not lose, L-O-S-E. That's the wrong word, isn't it? Okay. Again, just like up here, you're sending just your being there. Again, gerund phrase, just your being there. Enthused is, it's abbreviated and it's informal. Let's get rid of that and choose excited. I think that's all. Just your being there excited the whole team and made them especially determined not to lose the crucial game. Yeah. Okay. 2 more. She read in the newspapers where the commissioners hopefully will have less arguments tonight centering around the proposed site of the new auditorium. This messed me up because that's the wrong version of site. That's a homonym. Let's see. Let's go back up to the top. She read in the newspapers where the commissioners, okay, well, that's wrong. That the commissioners hopefully will have less arguments. Now, the commissioners, they're the ones they hope to have. They're the ones that want to have. So hope to have, you don't use less when it's something that can be counted. And you can count the number of arguments a person has. Let's say fewer. You would say less milk, fewer cookies. All right? Because milk is something that you can't count milk, but you can count cookies. So less for milk and then fewer for cookies. Fewer arguments tonight. Centering around the proposed. Okay, this is a rule. You center on, not around. Okay, the center is a point. Around is the perimeter. So center on the proposed. Let's see, am I missing something? No, just remember I said I didn't like that. That's supposed to be S-I-T-E, like the site of the new auditorium, the piece of land where we're going to put the auditorium. That's what that is, site, okay? And then one last one. Michael, he don't know nothing about mountain climbing. And beside that, he's afraid of heights. Wow, that's awful. So Michael, you don't repeat. You don't have a double subject there. That's not good. Michael is the subject. He is just get rid of it. And then get rid of don't and say does not, because you don't want to use contractions often. Really, in formal writing, you want to avoid them altogether if possible. Michael does not know anything, not nothing, about mountain climbing. And beside that, get rid of beside, besides, and besides that, he's afraid of heights. That's the wrong spelling of the word. H-E-I-G-H-T-S, period. Okay? Wow, there we go. Whew, that was a long one. All right, great. Well, I hope that you paid attention. I'd like for you to do something for me. I'd like for you, just to prove that you watched to the end of this video, somewhere on your paper, I would like for you to write mountain goat. Okay? I'll show you what I did. It doesn't matter where, write mountain goat somewhere on your paper, and I'll know that you watched this all the way to the end, okay? Make these corrections on those 2 pages, upload them to get credit again, all right? Thank you so much. You have a great day.